got to be really good at taking care of people, so that way the clients know that you have their best interests at heart.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Chris Massey with Generations Realty, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, even though he doesn't like me call him that. He's humble, but he taught me everything I know. John Massey, what's up, man?
Hey, bud, what's going on?
Not much. So for those of you who know that my dad, he was in the car business for 35 years. I was practically born on the showroom floor, and previously we worked together at Matthews Dodge. Dad, I guess tell us a little bit about your transition from the car business and into real estate.
May 28th of this year was exactly 35 years for me, so it just felt like that was a good point to maybe hang up my car selling hat on a full-time basis, and so was able to do that, but not ready to not do anything. So real estate was a good fit. I like people, I like sales, and there's a lot more flexibility in real estate. So just thought it would be a good fit for how I'm wired, but kind of where I'm at in life, that it would be a good fit to give me some flexibility.
Sure. You miss the car business?
I do. I miss the people. The car business was great to me, worked for some great people. But at some point you reach that time when it's time to do something new, and I miss it, but I'm excited about real estate and excited about the flexibility that it offers.
Having been in the same industry for so long, and you started in the car industry when you were 19 years old. I mean, so you were a kid, you were practically raised by the car industry. What would you say have been the biggest differences between selling cars and selling houses?
I think the big thing is there's similarities at the same point too. So it's all about people. It's all about relationships. It's all about work ethic and how you're willing to apply yourself and take care of people. But the thing I like about real estate is, in real estate, the big difference is you. Depending on what you're selling, sometimes you're subject to the product you're selling.
That's right.
The product's reputation. In real estate, it's all about you. No matter what agent, there's a lot of agents people can choose from. Mm-hmm. But the good thing with real estate, it's who you are and how you take care of clients, how you apply yourself, how good are you at communicating. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot less things to control in real estate, and you just have to be really good at what you do. You got to be really good at taking care of people, and you got to be good at being flexible in your approach. So that way the clients know that you have their best interests at heart.
Yeah. That's my favorite part. It's one of the things that actually makes real estate challenging, because you are the difference maker, right? Like, you're who you are and how you deal with clients. I mean, that's because we all have the same inventory, right? We all have access to the MLS. We're selling the same houses, which I kind of love, because if you didn't have that Honda Civic that your buddy was looking for, it was so easy to lose business to the place down the street, where now it's like, okay, it's just me. I'm the one that creates the value. So in many ways, even though it puts like more pressure on us, I think for guys like us, it's been a nice transition. So has anything, since joining the housing industry and selling houses, has any challenges surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, there's always challenges. One of the big things is sometimes the lack of communication in the industry. So it's a challenge to be able to stand out and to try to make stuff happen, because a lot of times, I think in real estate, it's even more crucial than any to be able to have great relationships with not just the other agents, which is absolutely crucial, but great relationship with lenders, great relationship with different contractors that will help you along the way, because it's all about trying to make the absolute smoothest process possible for the client. So, and what I'm discovering is a lot of clients, they're out there, they've never been through the process before, they've never bought a house. So then it's slowing down enough to help them understand every step of the process, and then having the right people that can come alongside them to walk through that process with them. So that way it's a positive experience for them and not something that they dread.
Yeah, I mean, experience something similar where it's like, especially back to the car business, it's you kind of have everything in-house. And so you're kind of controlling every aspect of the deal where it's like, okay, agree on a price, we find the right car, we get financing set up and paperwork, and it's all right there with people that you work with every day, and it's much easier to control the process, where in real estate, it is so much more difficult. You got to be able to stay on top of it with communication because you have so many different moving parts, with the title company doing the paperwork and, making sure the lender is communicating things to buyers like, what's my payment going to be? What's the interest rate? What's my cash to close? These things that are crucial that if they don't do a good job communicating, it can really make a deal go awry in a hurry. So
yeah, because if you think about it, in the car business, someone can go in and buy a car and be headed home with it in a couple hours. In the housing industry, we're talking it's usually give or take about a 30-day process.
Yeah, much longer process.
A lot of more moving parts. So you really have to be detail oriented, which is why I like it, because that's kind of how I'm wired, to be detail oriented. So it doesn't bother me to walk through that 30-day process and, to be able to be there to advise and coach my clients. Hey, this is what we're going to be up against next. This is what we're watching for. This is what we need to be doing, to keep that ball moving. Again, with the end goal of this, getting the client the house that they want with a great process and making sure that they get the best terms possible for them.
And so my favorite, since switching from the car industry, my favorite part of the transition has been, when you're selling cars and someone comes on the lot and they're sitting at your desk and you're trying to sell them a vehicle. There was so much pressure. Okay, if I don't find the right car for this client, or if I don't have the right car on the lot right now, they're just going to go down the street and they're going to buy the one that they do want. And so there was just this pressure to kind of do the hard close and try to get them, figure out how to get them to say yes. What I love about the real estate industry is you can take so much more of just consultant role, where okay, if this isn't the right house, no problem. We'll keep looking. We'll wait for something to come on the market. It's way easier, in my opinion, to just do what's best for the client and, help them get into the best situation possible. So that's been my favorite shift.
Yeah, being a buyer's agent is really awesome because really real estate isn't about selling. Mm-hmm. Real estate is about looking out for your client's best interest, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you can walk through that process with them, help them to try to stay on track and not get too much emotion involved. So that way they're not making a decision that they're going to regret later. So just trying to make good, sound, solid, fundamental decisions that is going to be good for them long term. So yeah. I agree. That is a great part of the real estate business. There's not a lot of selling. It's more advising. It's more consulting and just representing that client because they don't always know what to watch for. They don't always know to what pitfalls that could be in front of them. So it's best for us to just be able to help keep them between the guardrails and help walk through it with them and be there for them for when they have that question, like, what does this mean? We're right there and, able to help them understand each step of the process.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy. As you were talking, I was thinking, as real estate agents, we get so desensitized to the home buying process, the home selling process, because we see it every day. We check the market every day. We're showing houses. We're listing homes. And so some of this knowledge that you naturally acquire doing that, like, it's not a given. And right, so, let's say people on average buy a house every 5 to 7 years. Even if you've bought a couple houses, I mean, how easy is it to forget, all these different things? When I'm walking in a house, what do I want to look for? What about the foundation? What about the furnace? How long does a furnace last? When should I start budgeting to replace this thing? I mean, these are just things that I think as agents, between just the home buying process, it's easy to take that for granted. And so just being able to kind of come into every situation with fresh eyes and be like, okay, let's make sure that this client, has everything, all the tools that they need in their tool belt. So let's talk about something that a lot of people are talking about right now. Just in recent news and current events. So the 50-year mortgage, what do you think?
Yeah, to the right person, it might be good. Let's be honest, things are expensive. Affordability is crucial to everybody. But I think it's really good to sit down and be able to take a look at, okay, if I make that decision, what does that really look like for my situation? If I'm going to buy a house and keep it for a year or two, is it going to be a big deal whether I do a 30-year, a 15-year, or a 50-year? Probably not. But long term on a 50-year mortgage, we were putting a pencil to it the other day, and it literally can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra interest, depending on how long you're going to keep the home.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's crucial that people have someone to help walk them through that.
That's right.
Say, okay, what is this going to look like? Because sometimes it's only going to save you a couple $100 a month, but could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars long term.
And that's what's crazy to me. If you just play around with it and you say, okay, because in my brain, 50 years versus 30 years, almost double. So I'm sitting here like, okay, $300,000 house. How's it going to affect my payment, assuming the same interest rate between a 30-year and a 50-year? It's like $250.
Yeah.
And to me, that juice isn't worth the squeeze. The craziest thing I've seen about it is someone had an amortization chart. And so it showed like a 15-year mortgage. I think on this side, it was like the balance of the loan. And on this side of the chart, it was time. Okay, mm-hmm. So you start here at $300K, 15 years you're here, 30 years you're here, 50 years you're here. Well, when the 50-year mortgage hit the 30-year mark, the mortgage was paid off like 15 or 20%. Like it was still really high up in the money, right? So you're paying an ungodly amount of interest up front. I get it. The housing industry or the housing market, we have to figure out how to balance affordability with like pretty much every homeowner in the United States of America. We're counting on our home values to go up. So it is a catch-22. But I think if you can avoid the 50-year mortgage, I think it totally makes sense to.
Yeah, but I think that's where it's so crucial for you to have an agent. I know everybody is tempted. Well, do I really need an agent? Maybe I can do this on my own. Maybe I can save a little bit of money. But I'll tell you, if you have an agent that's really advocating for you, usually they can save you money rather than cost you money. I know.
That's right.
Recently, I had a client and was their listing agent, and they gave me a price. Hey, I would be willing to sell my house for this. And when it was all said and done, we got $50,000 more than what they were thinking. So in that situation, we saved that client tens of thousands of dollars.
That's right.
So a lot of times having the expertise of an agent that's in your corner, that their main responsibility is just to look out for your best interests, most generally will always save you money rather than cost you money.
Yeah. And even with, some of the things that have come across for the news for a lot of people over the last couple of years with real estate commissions and different things, there's a lot of preconceived notions that aren't necessarily true. And so, generally speaking, the seller is still paying a commission for both sides. But certainly is negotiable, and I know we have to be careful about talking about commissions. But for many times for buyers, we are little to no cost to them. It is like what you're saying is, my experience just recently. I helped my brother-in-law get a house. He lives up toward the Cleveland area, and I think about a year ago, let's say he had a 7.3%. Well, that same company had reached out to him for a refi, and they were doing free refis, which is great, but they were quoting him a 6.75 interest rate, which certainly would bring his payment down, much lower than a 7.3, but, I've been getting quotes for 5.9 from some lenders. So, just being able to step in, like almost being able to save my brother-in-law, 1%, so there's just, because we have our ear to the ground, we see a lot of things that the average everyday consumer doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that the other point that brings up is it's always the $1 million question. When is the time to buy? Are rates too high? And, there's that adage out there, and I think it's true, is, you're marrying the house, but you're dating the rate.
That's right.
And the problem is if you wait for rates to come back down to where everybody wants to be out buying a house, now house prices are way up.
Inflating.
And, you can always refinance. You can't always renegotiate the price of the house. So don't let rate be the only thing that keeps you out of the market, because price is long-term, rate is temporary, right? Mm-hmm. So I just see it so many times. You'll buy a house today, rate will be, 5.9%, whatever it is. But if rates go down, you can refinance it. But if you pay $350,000 for a house when the market is booming versus $300,000, that's a big savings that you can get, and when there's less competition, so then that price is always going to be there for you, and then that's what you're going to be refinancing. So don't get so caught up in the interest rate that it's keeping you out of the market when you could get a great deal on a house.
Yeah, I mean, when interest rates first started to tick back up in whatever it was, 2022, 2023, and people decided they were going to hold off that home search and wait for rates to come down. I mean, goodness, if you would have bought a house back then, you'd already have, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in equity. So, the best, and that's what they always say, the best time to buy a house was last year. So, investing in real estate historically is been a great investment. And even when it's not been a great investment, if you're able to sit on it and wait long enough, it will tick back up. But what about, let's switch gears a little bit. What about, we talk a lot about home buyers. What about sellers? What do you think is the number one thing home sellers can do right now to get their home ready to sell? Even if it's, 6 months down the road, maybe they're going to list in spring. What are some different things that they can start doing now to get their house ready for the market?
Big thing is what I see is a lot of time people wait till the last minute and then they don't have a real strategy. So I think the big thing is to find an agent that you trust, is first and foremost someone that will work well with you, someone that will communicate well with you, and then sit down and come up with a strategy. What should I be doing around my house that will help it to be more appealing? And sometimes that's just simple. Sometimes that's packing some stuff up, depersonalizing, decluttering, cleaning up the landscaping. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's stuff that costs very little money.
That's right.
But again, so many people are viewing your house online, so we want to put our house in the best light that we possibly can to make it as appealing as we possibly can to as many people as possible, because that's the whole difference in between selling some products and others. In housing, the better that you have a strategy and a pricing strategy, the more people you can attract to that house, now if we can get more people interested at the same time, that puts us in a position to be able to get you maximum price for your house. So even though it's not as common as it used to be, I know just as recently as a few months, we ended up getting someone $30,000 over asking price for their house because we put it in the best light that we could. We attracted as many people as possible. We had a great strategy right up front. You know, we're going to list it on Thursday. We're going to have an open house on Saturday. We're keeping offers open till Monday. We attracted multiple offers and we got maximum value for the client.
Yeah.
But we knew right up front what our strategy was going to be.
Yeah, that's so key. You know, I mean, certainly, you know, an exceptional house is easier to sell, sure, but for any house, how you position it is the key, right? I mean, doing the couple things, you know, the sweat equity or the low dollar things to just freshen the house up, but then also taking into account, okay, when are we going to list this? Pricing strategy, you know, what's going to be our marketing strategy? How am I going to roll this house out and get the most eyes on it? And so, you know, I had a similar situation where, you know, in Marion, if you're below a certain price point, it is so key to be able to take FHA offers. And, you know, there's different situations where that can't happen. But if you're on the fringe of being able to, you know, just do cash or conventional only, but then be able to open yourself up to FHA, VA loans, in our context is absolutely huge, because when you don't have a house ready for that FHA or VA appraisal, you're cutting out maybe over half of your potential buyers. And so I kind of had something similar where the house was a little bit overpriced to start, but they were just taking conventional loans, conventional offers. And so they had reached out to me. It's like, hey, they had received an offer that was like $100,000 below their original ask price. What do we do with this? And kind of panicky. They had already moved out and got into their new home. They were, you know, balancing 2 mortgages. And so I just said, okay, let's take it off market. We need to really take a hard look at our pricing strategy. And let's take a look at, you know, what are the things we got to do to get this thing FHA ready. I mean, it was literally $1,500. And, you know, being able to put it back on the market, we waited till spring. We timed it, really took into consideration, you know, what our starting price was going to be. And, you know, we're in contract within 24 hours, $10K over ask. It really is. It was the same house that was on the market 6 months prior, but what we said is, okay, how are we going to adjust how we position this thing to be able to not just have this thing sit and have a quick sale, but, you know, get you the best terms for you as the seller. So I think that's super key.
Yeah, I mean, the key is there's a lot of different agents that you can hire, you know, and some you got to be careful because some agents, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. They'll throw it on the market for you, and that's where it stops. So then if you don't get lucky enough to just find the right buyer at the right time, then you're just going to sit there and getting stale in the housing industry is definitely bad. When your house sits there and gets stale, people don't even look at it anymore. So I think that's why it's so crucial to find a brokerage and find an agent that has a good marketing plan, that has a good marketing team, and that is willing to strategize with you and be able to tell you, this is what we think we should do, and this is why, and have those answers for you, other than, well, the house down the street only sold for this, so that's what yours should sell for. So that's it, take it or leave it. You got to find someone that is going to be flexible in their approach with you and not try to shoehorn you into their model, but be willing to have those conversations with you of what makes the most sense in this situation.
That's right. So, I mean, you've already generated a lot of activity in your short real estate career just over the last 6 months. And, you know, since you just completed, 35 years in the car business, what's another success story that, you've had in this short time that makes you go, man, this is why I do it?
Just a couple months ago, I had a nice family that were in the market for a house, but I could tell right up front that their guards were up, and it's all about slowing down and understanding people's story. Mm-hmm. And when I got to hear these people's story, they had gotten in a situation where they made an offer on a house. They had an agent maybe that didn't slow down enough to help them understand what the process was and what was in their best interest. And they got in contract on a house, and then a couple weeks in, they figured out, oh boy, this house is going to be $400 a month. Too much. It's just more than what we can handle. So they had to step aside, and they were heartbroken and frustrated. So it was really neat to be able to slow down with this family and go all the way back to step zero and say, okay, help me understand what your wants and needs are. Mm-hmm. Help me understand what your goals are financially, and let's forget everything that you experienced, and let's just walk through it together. Let's find the right house that we know is going to be in the right area financially that you mm-hmm. are comfortable with. And it ended up being a great experience for him. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to be able to be different and not get in a hurry and slow down and help people understand every step of the process. And then when it gets to the close and they get to move in there, and just to see that smile, hey, that was a great experience, thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, totally. And, it's the human element. We can't forget that there is, another family on the other side of the table. And this is the biggest financial decision that they're going to be making in their life, likely. And so I just think that's so key, even for those agents that, are busy and they have a lot of business, maybe a lot of appointments. I think it's so important. You do have to slow down. Take the time to ask the probing questions and really understand that client's story, their situation. If you just rush through the process, you're going to miss a lot of that, and you're not going to know how to take care of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about communication. And the most frustrating thing for me, I experience it, if I call somebody because I need something, answer your phone. And if you're not able to answer your phone, call me back. We take for granted even the small things like communicating well, responding to text messages, responding to emails, the things that we can do to slow down and help people through the process and let them know that we really care. It's not about, for me, it's not about a commission check. It's about, can I help you in a way that I bring value? If I don't mm-hmm. bring value to you, mm-hmm. I've not done what I'm supposed to do.
You're just another cog in the machine.
Absolutely. Yep. The commission is secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so crucial that I bring value from the word go. The minute you say, John, will you help me sell my house? Or John, will you help me find a house? I need to bring value from the word go. You need to know, hey, I've got someone in my corner that their primary focus is my well-being. Mm-hmm. And if you don't sense that, then there's probably a reason to maybe take a second look.
Yeah, for sure. So how about this? How does it feel to have the most obnoxious real estate agent in Central Ohio as your son?
It's good. I think that's the one thing that made this very appealing to me. You and I have been able to work together before. In that capacity, I was the boss, you were the employee. That made it a little awkward, but as equals, it's really fun to be able to work together and to be able to embrace our differences, right? Because we like to joke, old school versus new school.
I'm way cooler.
Yeah. And I'm okay with being boring. No, that's not a problem. But no, all joking aside, it's great to be able to work together, to be able to collaborate together, to be able to brainstorm together.
Yeah.
You know, we're not a team, right? That's a whole different realm, but we are agents in the same brokerage. So that's the great thing about Generations Realty is there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of years of experience in our office that we get a feed off of, that we've got a lot of agents in our office that have done this for a very long time that aren't afraid to help us, to kind of wrap their arm around us and say, hey, have you thought about this? Or maybe try doing this, or have you thought about maybe trying this approach? And that wisdom placeable, right? So I think that's something that's good for both of us. We get to walk through this together. We get to collaborate with so many other agents. And the big thing is we get a smile. We get to have fun. And there's nothing better than walking into an office that the screensaver on the computer says, do the right thing, no matter who's watching, no matter what it costs, do the right thing, right? And when that is the atmosphere that you're in every day, you can go to work with a smile, and you can go home knowing you did the right thing. For that fits with both my and your personality, and I think that says it all.
Yeah, and shout out to Generations Realty, the best brokerage in Central Ohio. I love everything about us. We have the best culture. And, what I think is really cool is our diversity. You see these different brokerages, they attract a certain type of person. And, for us, we have people that have been doing it forever. Maybe they're in their 70s even. Because in real estate, you don't really retire, right? You just slow down until you die. You never stop selling houses. So, we just have folks from, 20 years old to 80 years old. And we all work really well together. And we all bring something else different to the table. And we're not, you just don't hold on to, the wisdom that you have. But, we just have this collaborative environment where, we share that freely. And I think it makes us all better agents.
Yeah, and it's, even our slogan, 5-star service, no junk fees, right? So we're not out trying to pile on a bunch of junk fees to people. So many times, clients don't know what to watch for, and before you know it, there's an extra $400 or $600 fee on there, and they're getting subpar service. I mean, that's the great thing about our brokerage is, great service. Customer satisfaction is crucial. But at the same time, we're not going to throw a bunch of extra fees on there. And the support structure that we have at our brokerage, we've got full-time compliance, and we've got full-time marketing, and we have our broker and our associate broker, Jim and Josh, they're all there to help us every step of the way. And that goes to say a lot, especially when everybody is local. They're right there, and they're going to be there anytime that we need them. They're going to be there to make sure that clients are taken care of.
And I might be biased, we have the best marketing too, hands down.
Yeah, I mean,
and we have the most fun.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing. Some people will look and say, boy, your guys' marketing is goofy. That's just who we are. We have fun in our brokerage, right? And then anybody can put your house on the MLS.
That's right.
But what are they going to do with it after they put it on the MLS? Are they marketing it? Do they have a strategy? Are they willing to do an open house? Yeah. Are they putting it on social media? What are you doing to help sell my house? And I think that's the thing that we'll always be able to tell you, hey, this is our strategy.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, we're just going to throw it up on the MLS
hope for the best.
Hope that it sells.
Yeah.
We're not going to hope. We're going to come up with a strategy to make sure that we do everything in our power to make sure it sells.
Yep. As many eyes as possible on it. So, no, that's great. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about Marion. Now, everybody who knows me knows I love my hometown, M-Town, Marion, Ohio. Say what you want. I love this place. I love these people. So, for me, since the jump of my real estate career, you want to talk about a target audience or an ideal customer, like I want to do business in Marion. Is it partially because I hate driving on the highway? Yes. But it's truly because this is who I want to work with, and this is my hometown, and this is who I want to invest in. So tell us a little bit about, you are a Marion boy through and through, born and raised. You've raised kids here, done business here. So what's been your experience with Marion and how far it's come?
Yeah, Marion is home, period. I've tried 3 times, moved away 3 times, always got homesick, always came back. You can pick apart any community that you want, but Marion is my home. It's, like you said, it's where we've raised our kids. I grew up in Marion, so went to all the city schools, graduated from Harding and went to Tri Rivers. Marion has a lot to offer. Marion has a lot of great things that we can look at. Of course, you could pick it apart if you want to.
That's right.
But Marion is home. I think Marion is on a path of getting better. Mm-hmm. It's far from perfect, right? There's no such thing. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool to see the movement that's happening in Marion, what everybody is doing downtown. Everybody is making the effort to make Marion a better place. Mm-hmm. I love Marion. Mm-hmm. Lived there a long time. It's where I plan on staying. So I think it's what you look for. Mm-hmm. It's that old adage that I've always ingrained in everybody. Life's 10% what happens and 90% how you respond. It's a matter of how we want to look at Marion. Let's be part of the solution and not look for the problems. There's mm-hmm. problems, right? Yeah. There's going to be in any community that you're at, but yeah. Let's go out there, and let's get involved. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's be willing to serve on those boards. Let's be willing to do the work mm-hmm. that it takes to make so that way we leave it better than what we found it, right?
That's good. And it takes all of us. So it's a group effort.
It's so crucial that everybody rally together, dwell on the positives. It's that, are we looking at it half full or half empty when it comes to our glass? Let's look at it half full, and how do we keep adding, right? And I think that's so crucial.
Yeah, and it's like, we're not just selling houses in Marion, we're selling Marion. And so we are, as real estate agents, we have an opportunity to be a gatekeeper of sorts and to really show people, whether you live in Marion or you don't, like just all the great things going on in this community, and we are progressing, and it is a great place to live. And with the rapid growth of Central Ohio, our average home price, our low taxes, we have solid school systems for the type of community that we live in and the socioeconomic status and all these different things. So, I think people are catching on to this. Marion is a great place to invest in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I, we had the privilege the other day going through Buckeye Community School. Some of the movements that are happening, some of the things that people are able to accomplish in our community, it'll make you say, wow, that is good stuff. So there's a lot of positive movement that's happening. A lot of times you're just not looking for it, or you're just not exposed to it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when you think, man, this is bad and that's bad, and I heard this on the news,
yep,
you're missing the 50 other things that are all headed in a positive direction.
That's right.
That people are doing, that it's just not part of your circle.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that it's not there.
And maybe you're hearing preconceived notions from something that happened 15 years ago. So for those of you who don't know, this used to say heroin. And so we're trying to flip the script out here in Marion, Ohio. But, you can kind of just focus on the reputation that maybe we had 15, 20 years ago. But my goodness, the work that has been done has been astronomical.
Yeah, and it all starts with us, right? So maybe we can't change the world, but we can change what happens in our homes. We can change what happens in our neighborhoods. We can change what happens in our city, but it takes all of us. Each day, just making a positive impact, just doing the little things. Always have to mention my buddy Larry Holman. He always had a saying that always stuck with me. He says, "John, inch by inch, it's a cinch."
That's right.
He says, "Get an inch better today, an inch better tomorrow. Before you know it, you're a foot better." So I think that's so crucial for everybody to keep in mind. It's the little things add up. So let's all rally together and make that difference.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's end with this. If this was your last day on Earth, what would you want to leave behind? What would you want people to know? What's the one thing?
I think for me, it's leaving behind that legacy, right? It's not about money. It's not about stuff. It's not about your bank account or where you lived or any of that. It's all about relationship. It's all about how you treat people. It's all about the impact that you had on your community, on your family, on your neighbors. And I just don't think that we slow down enough to remember that. And then when you add faith to that, it's even more profound. So I think it's just slowing down and understanding that we can make a difference, but it's usually that difference is not about the stuff that we get so worked up about every day, that the difference is in the small stuff. The difference is about, keeping your priorities in line. It's your faith, your family, and your community.
I love it. I love it. Guys, I'm Chris Massey. This is John Massey. 2 generations, 1 mission. We're selling houses.